is, I see the thing about you on Megyn Kelly. Now I know you from a different world, right? Because I think I met you in Austin like 10 years ago. And then I see on Megyn Kelly, you're dating two women at the same time. You're in a throuple, and you have children with both of these women. So my first thing is, how do you end up doing that? Because you were married to Amanda when I met you, and so where's the transition that happens there? And then from that point on, how does NBC and Steve Harvey and all these other people reach out to you?
All right, man. So here, in order to piece it together, we have to go back to the moment I got married. I was in London. I was running the nightclub scene in London. P. Diddy, Pharrell, all those guys, when they came into town, they would come and hang out at the clubs that I was running. And I got depressed. I got to a point where I could meet and attract pretty much anyone I wanted. And, life just didn't have fulfillment anymore. And I realized it's because I was just doing surface level stuff. Like I was, taking people to bed, getting rid of like the physical needs, but there was no emotional content. I had like 14 different women that I was in a relationship with, and none of it was real. So I turned around to my friend and I said, the next head turner that walks in the room, I'm going to marry her. And that was Amanda. So she walked in, and sure enough, a few years later, I got married. And I decided
this is in London. When you see it. So Amanda just happened to be, Amanda's an American citizen, right?
Yeah, she's a TCU student.
Oh, she's from Fort Worth. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And she came there for 6 weeks. We hung out, and I said, the day she left, I said, I will follow you back to America, and I will marry you. And she went, whatever. If you do it, you do it. So I did.
When you say the other relationships weren't real, what does that mean? Like, to explain, because you understand, Adam, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, you're dating 14 people at one time. Oh, that's awesome, bro. Like, that sounds like that sucks. Explain, because you have to, if you ever read The Setup by Dan Bilzerian, he talks about, at the very end of the book, he talks about being on a $60 million yacht with 30 girls all trying to sleep with him, and him feeling depression. While he's explaining the depression, and while I kind of understand what he's talking about, you understand a lot of people are like, this is very confusing to me. Why do you feel depression? So you're dating 14 women at one time. Where does this emptiness come from?
So what happens, I explain this a lot actually inside the ACE formula. Attraction, we're often only attracted to our own efforts, not somebody else's.
Got it.
So you can think of this like, if you have a favorite shoe or a favorite pair of shoes, I suppose, no one wants just one. If you lose the shoes, you're upset, but the shoes don't care.
Yeah.
That's because the shoes never put any effort in and obviously don't have any feelings, but we can be upset about that. Likewise, when you put effort into a relationship, that's why you end up with these one-sided, unrequited love scenarios, where someone's like, oh, but I'm obsessed with you. And the other person's like, I don't even know you. So what had happened was I was so good at game that women were obsessed with me and wanted to sleep with me and wanted to date with me, but I didn't really care about any of them because to me, it was just a process.
Ah, that's what you mean. Got it.
Yeah. So I had 14 girlfriends. I was having sex. Literally, I would have like morning sex and evening sex. It was a different girl, and that was it, or threesomes or fivesomes sometimes. It was just me and 14 girls. There was like 3 that kind of lived in my house on and off, and the others would cycle through. When I met Amanda, I decided that was it. I was going to try and be happy. So I was like, I'm going to be monogamous. And I did it for me. It was controversial at the time in the dating industry. Like, no, everyone else was trying to sleep with as many people as possible. And I was like, I've done that. Like, that wasn't cool. And so I ended up being monogamous, and we got married, and life was great. We were so happy. And one day she wakes up, her mom had been diagnosed with some kind of hereditary thing that basically meant that because she gave birth to 2 children, her body would always deteriorate over time. I don't know the details of it. Obviously, it was her mom.
Was it preeclampsia? Was that it?
I don't know. I didn't want to ask like my mother-in-law, hey, what's it? But I just know that it was a thing. She sat down with her daughter, and Amanda came to me and said, hey, just so you know, I don't want to have kids. She's like, I've thought about it. There's so many kids in the world that need adopting. I'm out on the let's have kids thing. And that was a deal breaker. So I looked at her and said, I'll divorce you over this. And actually, she said to me, she said, no, you won't. I'm too pretty. Which was pretty funny because she always had like those kind of like funny little phrases.
Yeah.
I divorced her over it. So I filed the papers and separated.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah.
No.
It was.
Sorry. So it was a little